So here's our problem right here. We have to prove that line P is parallel to line Q. And these are our givens right here. So first things first is we're gonna write our givens in the statement and reason chart. So let's draw that chart. Now label it.
Statement.
Yes. And reason. Okay, so the first thing is, the first given is line L is equivalent to line M, or is parallel to line M. So we're gonna write that in our statement, just like this. And then the reason is given. Now the second given is angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. And also the reason is given. Since we know that line L and line M are parallel, we mark this by drawing a line in each to show the comparison between them. And then likewise with angle 1 and angle 3, we drew this marking and this marking to show that they are congruent. Okay, so what's the first statement you have?
Well, I noticed that angle 3 and angle 2 are alternate interior angles, so that's my next statement.
All right. Congruent to angle 2. Alternate interior angles, as you can see. Okay. We can tell that they're alternate interior angles because lines L and M are parallel and they're being split by this transversal. So when that happens, these alternate interior angles, they're called interior angles because they're inside lines L and M. They're not, if they're exterior angles, they'd be outside, somewhere out here. But since they're inside, they're gonna be on the transversal. And we're gonna demonstrate that by writing it like this. Now from looking back at the chart, we can see that the definition of alternate interior angles are the angles formed on the opposite side of the transversal and are congruent. So opposite side of the transversal and are congruent. So we could say that angle 3 and angle 2 are congruent. Okay, so we've stated that angle 3 is congruent to angle 2 by the alternate interior angle. So the next thing we have to do, what else do you notice?
I noticed that angle 2 and angle 1 are equivalent or congruent because of the transitive property.
And what's the transitive property again? Let's refer back to the chart.
The transitive property is basically saying that for all real numbers, if x, y, and z, if x equals y and y equals z, then x is also equal to z.
Okay, makes sense. So let's write that in the statements and reasons chart. And the reason is going to be transitive property. Excellent. Okay, so the transitive property says that if x equals y, let's call 1x and 3y, and then if x equals z, so we proved that angle 1 and angle 3 are congruent. So x, and angle z are congruent. So we're going to call this angle 1 is x and angle 2 is z. So I've explained the transitive property a little more here. So basically, we proved that angle 1 and angle 3 are congruent. So we're going to name angle 1 x and angle 3 y, speaking in transitive property terms. We've also proven that angle 2 and angle 3 are congruent. We'll call angle 2 z. So if angle 1 and angle 3 are congruent, and angle 2 and angle 3 are congruent, then angle 1 and angle 2 must be congruent because they're all the same value. The transitive property says if x equals y and y equals z, then x equals z. So we've proven that angle 1 and angle 2 are congruent by the transitive property. So what do you think might be the final step in solving this problem? solving this proof?
Well, based on everything we've already found to be true or congruent, we know that lines P and Q are parallel because of the converse of alternate exterior angle theorem. And that's basically saying that if alternate exterior angles are congruent and formed by two lines cut by the transversal, which is right here, then the lines are parallel.
All right, so what lines are parallel?
Lines P and Q.
Okay, so that's the proof right there. On the last step, okay, and because of the
Converse alternate exterior angle theorem.
To break down the converse alternate exterior angles theorem a little bit more, we see that the definition is if the alternate exterior angles formed by two lines which are cut by a transversal are congruent, then the lines are parallel. So here are the two lines that form the transversal, and then it's cut by two lines, P and Q. So we see that the alternate exterior angles inside are congruent. We proved that a few statements ago. Then angles or lines P and lines Q must be parallel. This proof was completed by my brother, who has in years past taken geometry, so he's very familiar with the concept. I did help re-bring it up with him though, and help him catch up and remember all the things that he learned a few years back, and I think I did a great job teaching him. Here's a final look at our statements and reasons table, and here are the notes that we've taken on the problem. And we did completely prove that lines P and lines Q are parallel. Thank you.